Alright everyone, so we're gonna be watching this video from Clyde called How to Beat Ywach the Right Way. Now when it comes to the character of Ywabach, I've talked about this in previous videos, but Ywabach towards the latter half of the Thousand Year Blood War arc, basically at the point where he absorbed the Soul King, absorbed his powers and took it into himself, from that point forward, Ywabach ended up becoming a character to me, or specifically he ended up becoming the kind of antagonist that I'm not really a big fan of in stories. Like, I'm not really a big fan of these types of antagonists in any story, whether it's anime, manga, a novel, TV show, movie. It doesn't matter. I'm not a fan of these kinds of antagonists, and I'm talking about the kind of antagonist that is so overpowered, they're so broken that you realize that there is no way for the protagonist to win. Like, there's no realistic way for them to beat this guy. Ywabach is that kind of antagonist to me when he he became that kind of antagonist when he absorbed the Soul King's power into himself, and maybe even a little bit before that, when he basically awakened his ability, the Almighty, his ability to, see the future, and essentially he's able to manipulate it to where it actually suits him. So no matter what you do, it doesn't matter, because he could just go into the future, he can change it, and he's the one who ends up winning. And for me personally, I'm not a big fan of it. And you realize that the only way for them to realistically win is for the author to introduce some plot convenient way that actually ends up helping the protagonists win. And if you think about it, that's essentially what ended up happening with Ywabach, to where you had the still silver. I've always asked, well, wait a minute, how the hell did he not see this happening? Like, doesn't he have the ability to look into the future and see all possible outcomes? Like, how did he not see himself being hit with the still silver? Like, that's just something that's always kind of bugged me. Now, I think I remember seeing someone say in the past that the reason why he wasn't able to see the still silver is because of its ability to negate Quincy abilities, that's why his ability, the Almighty, wasn't able to see it. I don't know if that's true or not. It's as good of an explanation as any, at least for me personally. It would kind of explain it, but there's nothing in the manga that actually says that. There's no indication that that's what happened at all. So for now, that's kind of just, headcanon at this point. But let's go ahead and watch this video and see what Clyde has to say. And as always, guys, I'll leave a link to the video in the description, and I'll leave a link to Clyde's channel, so you can head on over there, watch his videos, go subscribe to his channel, support him, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you have any videos out there you want me to watch and react to and give my opinions on, let me know about them in the comments. Tell me the title of the video and the channel where I can find it. Don't leave a link, because YouTube does this thing where they erase links. I don't know why they do this, but it is what it is. So just tell me the title of the video and the channel where I can find it, and I'll get to it. So let's go ahead and watch this video and see what Clyde has to say.
How to beat Ywabach. Ywabach is undeniably one of the most overpowered villains in Shonen Jump magazine. He's so overpowered that once the war arc of Bleach was nearing its end, the author had Ywabach snap his fingers and remove his strongest teammate that would have helped his side win, alongside taking back the majority of the powers he had shared with his other.
By the way, Jared Valkyrie was another character that was like this for me.
Back the majority of the powers he had shared with his other Quincy. The author of Bleach, Tite Kubo, or alongside taking back the majority of the powers he had his teammate that would have helped him.
Yeah, when it comes to Jared Valkyrie, he was another character that was a lot like Ywabach, where no matter what the protagonist did, it just didn't work. And I remember when I was reading this, like, I got so annoyed. It's like, dude, why the hell would this guy, like, how is he not dead? Seriously, how the hell is this guy not dead already? It's just he keeps coming back, and it just became annoying, honestly, after a while. Like, I just wanted him gone. He wasn't interesting. Like, I was never interested in Gerald Valkyrie in the first place. I never found him interesting, and honestly, I just wanted him gone. And honestly, when this happened, I think I remember I was so happy. I was like, finally, this dude is gone.
His side win, alongside taking back the majority of the powers he had shared with his other Quincy. The author of Bleach, Tite Kubo, or Mr. Kubo, as I like to refer to him, so I don't get flack in the comments for saying his name incorrectly.
Yeah, I've heard people pronounce his name
the Shinigami
differently in the past.
And
like I've seen people pronounce it Tite Kubo or Tai Kubo. I've always kind of pronounced it as Taite Kubo. I don't know if that's correct or not, but I don't know. It's just it is what it is. That's why I think a lot of people just call him Kubo, because I think there's a lot of people who pronounce his first name differently, or at least I think that's his first name. Yeah.
The miracle around. Let's just
get rid of him.
So anyway, Ywabach is seriously strong. So strong that even describing him with the word strong is an understatement in itself. He can bestow characters with powers that those themselves are ridiculous. Like, for example, he gave Gremmy the ability to imagine anything in battle. He gave Lelebara the power of being able to instantly shoot through anything, intangibility, complete control over light itself, and Gerard Valkyrie, the miracle, having the power of, well, miracles. Regardless of the situation, he can win a battle based on it being a miracle. He's pretty much unkillable, and it's ridiculous in the story. Bro, even Kenpachi in Bankai couldn't take that motherfucker down. If Ywabach wants to, he can at any time use the Oshvalen light to take these powers back, along with absorbing even Shinigami and Hollows into himself. Ywabach's main powers are pretty much bows, seals, defensive shields, incredible physical strength and stamina, scaling to characters like Lilibaro, Ishin, and Dongai Ichigo, who all have the ability to teleport or react to teleportation type speeds. Teleporting in Bleach also isn't a big deal, as Ishin and Gin can easily do this with Keto and without incantation. So obviously the Hogyoku teleportation and Lilibaro's teleportation would be far superior than just baseline captain level Keto. Ywabach is so powerful that he can say, "Yo, I give myself power," and return his power to himself if it's removed by a character that has the ability to do so. Like when he fought Ichibei, who has the authority over the concept of words and the color black. He himself is insanely overpowered. Ywabach was also hit by an attack from Ichibei that pretty much works like a Yu-Gi-Oh card where if you get hit by it, it knocks you back a certain distance, no argument. Ywabach combats this by summoning a bow mid-air and blasting it into his own back to stop his momentum, meaning his own arrows surpass this concept. High tier characters at this point in the story like Ishin, with a single glance can wipe out beings like the Cleaner, which doesn't even operate via the laws of physics but that of reason. If you understand how strong that truly is compared to say blowing something up with a big explosion, you'd know characters like Ywabach and Ishin are ridiculous at this stage. Ywabach is also so strong that with his Quincy Bankai stealing pendant thing, he can steal the Bankai of someone like Yamamoto, and he explicitly says that he's the only one that could have been able to do that. Ywabach fuses himself with the Mimihagi, the Soul King, and then steals Ichigo's powers directly from him, amping him to a level where Ukiura, who couldn't get Ichigo to give up, even in the face of an absolutely unwinnable battle. Ywabach has Ichigo, post-Ishin backstory conversation, post Soul Palace training, mentally stable, he has him looking like this. Along with being that...
Yeah, I remember that was one of the things that that was one of the things that I honestly just was not a fan of, because it's like I got so excited after seeing Ichigo, like, you know, attain his true power, and I was just waiting to see him utilize it. But like the first real opponent he goes up against, because he's faced other people, you know, before he met up with Ywabach, but like the first chance he gets to really show us what he can do, he doesn't really do anything for one. And then he gets his power stolen. Like, I remember seeing that and I was like, what do you mean his powers got taken? What was the point of all that training? What was the point of all that? And also, like, I at the same time I thought, wait, this doesn't really make any sense. Like, his Zanpakuto is him. Like, it shouldn't be possible for him to take it. And he also talked about the power I gave you, but it's like, did you give him his, like, I don't, Ywabach, you didn't give him his powers. What do you mean the power I gave you? Like, you didn't give him this power. So how the hell can he take it? It's not like with you know, with the other Stone Raider where he actually gave them their powers. He didn't give Ichigo his power, so how the hell can he take it? That's just, I mean, if he was taking his Quincy abilities like that, I can understand, but his Soul Reaper and Hollow powers, like that doesn't belong to him. Those are his. I don't know. It's just it got so confusing towards the end, and that's one thing that I do hope the manga kind of elaborates on. It's like I hope they elaborate on what Ywabach meant when he said like the powers I gave you, because as it stands right now, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Again, if he was taking his Quincy abilities, I can understand, because technically, like all the Quincy abilities technically originated from him. So him taking that back, I can understand, but his Soul Reaper and Hollow forms, he shouldn't have been able to take those because that doesn't belong to him. I don't know.
Powerful. He can,
or maybe he could take them because he absorbed the Soul King's power, so he now has dominion over that. I don't know. It's just it's weird. Like there's so many like there are so many ways you can interpret that. It's just it's weird.
Can at any point pick a timeline he sees with the power of the Almighty and just be like, alright, Jarvis, alright, yeah, I win in that reality. Let's go with that one. Ywabach even claims he can imagine realities where he has died. Which, if you want to scale that, if Ywabach was fighting Ywabach, he is so strong that he can defeat a being like himself after fusing with the Soul King Mimihagi and stealing powers from others. He's pretty much saying with his future altering ability that anything is possible. He also snapped Ichigos Bankai in half with a mere thought. Even if you were hypothetically faster than Ywabach, he would know your every move before it even happens. Also, even if Ywabach is beaten, he can arguably regenerate from any fatal damage or heal himself with his voice and return in the future. There's also the argument that Ywabach has access to every shrift that he bestowed to the Quincy's once he takes them back with the Oshvalen Light, which essentially means at any point he could be like, let me go through my little gallery of abilities. Grammys, that sounds pretty good. Let's just imagine the whole world turning upside down if I want to. And the crazy part is that any ability that Grammy could use with his shrift, Ywabach would be able to do it even better with his spiritual pressure. It's also confirmed in the manga that Ywabach is the only character that can actually keep Grammy on a leash. And if you think him having access to every single shrift, the Miracle Shrift, Lily Barrow's, Asnot's Fear ability, Hushvol's ability, Uryu's ability, if you think that's crazy, well, when Ywabach throws a tantrum at the end of the series, he's like, yo, I'm just gonna wave my hand and collapse every reality in Bleach. In fact, there is even a manga page that implies Ywabach was not just going to collapse Quaco Mundo, the Soul Society's planet, the world of the living, and the ones that we're aware of. He was going to collapse the space around all of these different universes. And it does make sense because having the power that he already had, absorbing the Soul King, absorbing the Mimihagi, and then stealing powers from others and the Quincy, he's in a position where he may be above even Prime Soul King because he's not just keeping everything together. He has absorbed even other beings too, while already being a character that's up there with full power, Yamamoto and Bankai that's transcendent. Pretty wild stuff. When Ywabach was an infant, he would grant people power like baby Jesus.
Again, it's like, when you think about it like that, it really puts into perspective just how powerful this dude actually is. I mean, just the idea that he can access all the abilities that he gave to, you know, the Stern Ritter. Like, dude, Gremmy's power alone, he even mentioned it, is already pretty broken. You know what I mean? It's like, my imagination, anything I imagine, I can make it real. Like, technically, if he wanted to, he could imagine a sword that is completely unbreakable, and not only is it unbreakable, but it's also the sharpest sword in existence, and it could cut anything. Like, that is insane. And also, guess what? I imagine myself immortal. Guess what? You're immortal. He even did the whole he even did the Madara thing where he summoned a meteor from space, and he could have just completely crushed the you know, the entire Soul Society, which is just, it's crazy. Again, when you think about it, it's like, I mean, again, the fact that he has the access to that ability alone, well, arguably, we don't know if he does or not. It depends. And you know, the other abilities that he bestowed on people, like the Miracle, Gerard Valkyrie's the Miracle. There's also Lil Barrow's ability, Asnot's ability. It's just, it's crazy what this guy can do.
and in exchange, he would then gain bodily function and immense power back. This is how both Ichigo and Uryu's mothers passed away. He snapped his fingers and hit them with an orbital Quincy cannon. Think about this. He returned even after originally being defeated in the past, and his remnant still existed in the Soul Society after his death in the main story, claiming he would eventually respawn and come for Ichigo during his most peaceful moments. So, yeah, a pretty strong character, huh? How do you even beat someone like that?
And then he kind of, like, his remnants kind of got destroyed by, oh god, what was the kid's name? Ichigo's kid name. I don't know. Maybe I'll put it up on screen, but I can't really remember now. But I'll leave it up on screen.
Especially when he was a villain that inherently had to be the next step in echelon to someone like Ishin, who he himself is so strong that people that don't even watch Bleach know that he's overpowered. The very man who invented Ywabach didn't even know how to beat him properly. Well, luckily,
that's his
you
name.
guys have me to tell you how to defeat Ywabach. In Bleach chapter 510, Ywabach states to Yamamoto that he visited Sasuke Ishin in the Muken, while the fake Ywabach battled with him. In Bleach chapter 514, while Ywabach is fighting full-bring Bankai Ichigo, Ywabach claims by merely speaking with Ishin, who concealed his sword inside of his body, as he is now a transcendent being and one with his sword, has affected Ywabach with his Kyoko Suigetsu. If you remember, Ishin's Kyoko Suigetsu does not go away unless he turns it off himself or if you know the secret of it. The Vizards were actually still affected by this, even after 100 years had passed. Bleach chapter 683. Ishin uses his Kyoko Suigetsu to completely mess with Ywabach, who at this stage has already fused himself with the Mimihagi and Soul King, making Ywabach arguably again one of the strongest characters in the entire manga. Ishin, who is immortal and so unkillable that even the Sokyoku and Ywabach can't get rid of him, uses his immortality, mixed with his Kyoko Suigetsu, to create openings for Ichigo and Renji, while messing with Ywabach the entire battle. For whatever reason, Mr. Kubo has Ishin turn his Kyoko Suigetsu on and off, and near the end, this somehow allows Ishin to be absorbed by an off-guard attack, even though he could always just fool Ywabach again and move away from the attack. This would never land if he just kept the Kyoko Suigetsu on. It also doesn't seem to be the case that you can simply cancel out his Kyoko Suigetsu by touching the blade or even his body. It would actually be a de-evolution if you were to now have a larger area to affect on Ishin if that was the case, so the hand through the chest probably didn't disable the Kyoko Suigetsu. It seems more like the conversation they're having implies Ishin actually turned it off and this was really bad because it gave Ywabach the split second to attack. If Ishin was acting how he did in Karakura Town, this never happens. Ishin in my version of the fight is the keystone to victory. Ishin has had Ywabach.
It's actually pretty interesting, you know, seeing this. Like, Ywabach even says it himself, like, you've undone Kyoko Suigetsu's effect. Was it overconfidence or lack of power? It's interesting because, yeah, he even mentioned it, like, Ishin from the Karakura Town arc, or fake Karakura Town arc, like, and he never would have done this. One thing about Ishin that, you know, ever since he, you know, fused with the Hogyoku and he became immortal and became a transcendent being, like, he became a bit overconfident. Like, he's no longer as careful as he was before. You know, Ishin, it's interesting because as powerful as he was, and he knew he was powerful, he knew he was way more powerful than the other captains, but despite that, he still never allowed it to make him overconfident. You know, he still knew that probably better to still take some precautions. I mean, that's why he ended up trapping what was it, Kenpachi and Byakuya in Wake of Mundo, because even though, like, I don't think their power would have actually posed a threat to him, I think it's because he knew that it would make the battle a bit more difficult if Kenpachi and Byakuya were there. Like, he knew it would have, oh, and Mayuri, he was also there, and Unohana. Like, he knew that they would have just made his job more difficult. That's why he had to, like, essentially remove them off the board. And yeah, Ishin, after he, you know, fused with the Hogyoku and became immortal and became transcendent being, all of that just completely went away. Because it's understandable, like, if you know you can't die, you can understand why someone is going to be a little bit less careful, because it's like, well, what's going to happen? I can't die. Like, but yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, that overconfidence probably nearly lost him the fight. Like, if he had kept Kyoko Suigetsu on, then it probably would have made the fight against Ywabach a lot easier. But because he shut it off, then it gave Ywabach the like Clyde said, it gave him the opportunity he needed to start absorbing Ishin.
Attack. If Ishin was acting how he did in Karakura Town, this never happens. Ishin in my version of the fight is the keystone to victory. Ishin has had Ywabach in checkmate since the second they met in the Mugen. To beat Ywabach, you simply write the story like this. Ywabach has fooled time after time while under the influence of Kyoko Suigetsu, Ichigo, Renji, Uryu, Grimmjow, Naliel, and all the remaining Shinigami will appear in a system. Grimmjow and Nal are there to protect Hueco Mundo. Tsukishima and Ginjo are there if needed. The remaining Shinigami who have finished their battles or were busy with the miracle now arrive. Ryukin and Ishin turn up near the end.
Yes.
Ryukin, who
yes, especially Ishin, because I think I mentioned this in my reaction that I did for the latest Bleach trailer, at least as of the recording of this video. I don't know by the time you guys see this whether there's going to be another trailer or not, but I mentioned that one thing that I do hope we see in the anime is Ryukin actually doing something, as opposed to how he was in the manga where he didn't really do anything. And especially Ishin just kind of disappeared. Same thing with the other Soul Reapers. So let's go back and listen to what he said.
The story like this. Ywabach has fooled time after time while under the influence of Kyoko Suigetsu, Ichigo, Renji, Uryu, Grimmjow, Naliel, and all the remaining Shinigami will appear in a system. Grimmjow and Nal are there to protect Hueco Mundo. Tsukishima and Ginjo are there if needed. The remaining...
Wait, who's protecting?
Grimmjow and Nal are there to protect Hueco Mundo.
Ah, okay.
Tsukishima and Ginjo are there if needed. The remaining Shinigami who have finished their battles or were busy with the miracle now arrive. Ryukin and...
Yeah, that's something that I've always wondered as well. Like, why didn't they show up to help against the fight? Because they were done with their battle. It felt like they kind of disappeared. You know what I mean? Like, I've always wondered, like, okay, well, where are they? Why aren't they here? It's not like they're fighting, you know, it's not like they're busy fighting like they were before. So why didn't they show up to help against the fight? That just, I don't know, it just felt a little bit weird. And it honestly would have been fitting because, you know, he is the one who declared war against all of them. It would have been fitting if all of them were there and, like, all of them ended up, you know, attacking Ywabach, you know, as payback for what he did. And remember, like, the captain died because of him. So it would have been, like, pretty nice to see. Who knows? Again, maybe in the anime.
And Ishin turn up near the end. Ryukin, who we've never seen fight before, would come to assist his son and would finally see what he can do in combat. A pretty good time for those characters to finally bond, and potentially a good time for backstory. Ishin would do the same, but this time we would finally see his Bankai, which was hyped up since the flashbacks of Everything But the Rain. The Bankai could be written to work well for this type of opponent or specific battle. Mr. Kuro can easily write it this way. This would also allow Ishin to attempt to get revenge on Ywabach, who stole Masaki from him. A narrative connection that goes all the way back to chapter 1 of the manga.
Yes, that would have also been nice to see. It's like, it's just there are so many missed opportunities in the manga. And again, I completely understand why. You know, it's been mentioned time and time again, Kubo's health wasn't the best, so because of that he had to rush through. So I completely understand. I'm not blaming Kubo whatsoever, but at the same time, you can acknowledge that there are a lot of missed opportunities in the final battle against Ywabach. But who knows? Again, maybe in the anime, maybe we'll see.
You also see things like Grimmjow and Nal using second release forms. Who would complain about that, honestly? The remaining Shinigami using diversive attacks, which would also show how everyone is teaming up and surpassing the old ways of the Soul Society. This directly ties into Ishin joining them to defeat a common enemy, putting aside their differences. And Uryu, the one this arc was predominantly about, would be able to use his power, letter A, the antithesis. This would allow him to be one of the three major characters in this battle. Ishin and Uryu would be the main supports in this bot lane Bukkake, as Ichigo will finally reveal what his Zanpakuto ability actually is, which Ywabach feared so much that he went out of his way to break his sword and would inevitably defeat him with this said Hack's ability, thanks to Ishin and Uryu. The miracle being absorbed still sucks, I won't deny. He definitely deserved a longer fight where he is defeated properly, but at least this way, if the story is to continue in the same manner that it already did, We don't have the Silver Arrow cop-out that feels like it's taken straight from a 1970s vampire movie.
Yes.
And every character would
Yes.
also get their time to shine. While
Please, I just, please, I don't know. Okay, maybe I'm asking too much, but if there's one thing I hope the anime changes, it's the still silver thing. Please just get rid of it. I know you can find a better way to take him down than this, and I know technically the still silver was set up a while back, but it still doesn't change the fact that it kind of feels like a cop out, like you said. I just, okay, either maybe do a better job like setting it up, or just get rid of it. Just have another way to do it.
While also helping defeat Ywabach. No matter how overpowered Ywabach is, as long as Ishin keeps his Kyoko Suigetsu turned on, and everyone assists Ichigo, Ishin, and Uryu, there is no way Ywabach can realistically win, because anytime he tries to alter the future, he wouldn't know what he is actually altering. Oh, and to spice things up, why not reveal Ishin's Bankai in this battle? It'll be even stronger too, due to him having transcendent spiritual pressure. Yamamoto's Shikai and Bankai were amplified because of his transcendent spiritual pressure. So if Ishin had a reality warping Bankai that, you know, transcends the 5 senses, or the ability to summon a rabbit, he could not only warp reality even more, but summon a rabbit probably like the size of the moon. There's a lot of people that are probably just gonna knee-jerk say,
well, Clyde, why would he need a Bankai when he's transcendent? He doesn't need a Bankai.
So you're telling me that if he has a really hack's ability, you don't want to see Ishin activate that said hack's useful ability, right? You don't want to see him use that, but have it amplified with transcendent spiritual pressure? That man Yamamoto's flames were so hot because of his transcendent spiritual pressure and Bankai that they weren't even visible. He had to lower the power of them to make them visible. Ishin also clearly describes how it works in his battle with Ichigo, because he specifies, this is a Aikido from someone with transcendent spiritual pressure. It's pretty much like this. If Ishin's Bankai in the Soul Society means he can summon a cup of water, well, now he can summon a larger cup because he has transcendent spiritual pressure. There are too many characters and hacks abilities being used in this battle.
Or you could say it like this, like Ishin's
Bankai in the Soul Society means he can summon a cup of water, well, now he can summon a larger cup because he has transcendent spiritual pressure.
Or you could say it like this, like if his Bankai before he became a transcendent being could summon a like, let's say a small puddle, his Bankai after he became a transcendent being could summon an ocean. Kind of like that.
There are too many characters and hacks.
Or maybe not an ocean, maybe a sea. I mean, a little bit smaller, but it's still kind of the same.
Abilities being used in this battle with synergy to put Ywabach away. That is how you defeat the Quincy King, Ywabach. You show stuff that we've always wanted, show things that were never shown that should have been, give us a satisfying end of series fight that should have gone way longer, just like Ishin versus Ichigo, and at the same time, you don't upset the fans. If you enjoyed this video, help this video hit 10,000 likes. I'd really appreciate that. That'd be a cool goal. Subscribe if you're a fan of Bleach. Follow my Twitch in the description if you're a fan of Bleach, especially if you want to hear me talk about Bleach live and react to every episode as it drops every week. And have yourselves a great day.
Okay, I think that's the end of the video. Yeah, so there we go. Look, I mean, when it comes to, you know, his solution for how to be Ywabach, I mean, technically I don't think he said anything that I, you know, disagree with. I mean, the one thing that I will say this is having the whole, you know, the entire Soul Society, all the captains, all the Soul Reapers, or at least the important ones, you know, the captains and maybe some of the vice captains show up. Maybe that would be a bit much. You could say that it does feel a bit too fan servicey. You know, you could make the argument that maybe that does happen. So maybe instead of that, you could just have a few of them show up, like some of the captains. Like I would say Byakuya, Rukia, definitely have her there. I mean, she was there from the beginning. Makes sense to just have her there at the you know, the final fight. I mean, you could say that eventually she would have, you know, gone back to normal after using her Bankai. You know, maybe this time she won't use it because it's too risky against someone like Ywabach. So you could say, yeah, definitely have her. And I would say Renji, if I remember, he was there. Yeah, I think Renji was already there. So, and also Toshiro, yeah, Toshiro, have him there. And you know what? Okay, I don't think you really need you really need anyone else. I would say just those characters specifically, you could have them there. have them fight against the have them help Ichigo in the fight against Ywabach, and definitely show what Ichigos Bankai can definitely do. I think that was something a lot of people definitely did want to see, but we didn't get a chance to. And just have it be the thing that deals the final blow. And but the one thing that you do kind of run into a bit of a problem is that, even if he does deal the final blow, like what would stop Ywabach from eventually just changing it like he's always done? So I feel like that could be a way where the Still Silver could still play a part, like have it be there, and have him, like, have the other Soul Reapers give Uryu an opportunity to fire the Still Silver, because have Ywabach notice what Uryu has and notice that, okay, like I can't let myself be hit by that, and it seems like my ability doesn't affect it for some reason, so I need to be careful. So he essentially finds a way to essentially continuously avoid or not give Uryu a chance to hit him with a Still Silver, and that way you can have the captains give Uryu an opportunity. They could distract Ywabach enough to the point where he doesn't see where Uryu is, and eventually get hit with a Still Silver. His power gets negated for a moment, and that's where Ichigo, with like the full power of his Bankai, has a chance to hit the finishing blow, and that ends up killing Ywabach. At least that's kind of like my little addition to what he proposed here. But other than that, I really don't have anything against what he proposed here, and it does make sense. It does follow what was already said, given to us by Kubo himself. And now I don't know whether the anime is going to do any of that. I've theorized for a while now that maybe the anime will allow Kubo to fulfill his vision for the 1,000-Year Blood War that he couldn't when he was writing the manga. Whether that does happen or not, I mean, we've already kind of gotten confirmation that there are some additional scenes, so maybe this means that there will be more added to the story, and it's not just going to be a one-for-one adaptation of the manga. We'll see. Again, we'll just have to wait to find out, but thankfully we won't have to wait long, because it's only, as of the recording of this video, we are just at least a couple of weeks away from the release of the first episode. So we'll find out then. But for now, thank you guys for watching up until this point. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon to be notified whenever I post a new video, and comment down below with your thoughts, as well as any recommendations you have for me to watch. And I hope I'll see you guys for my next reaction. Bye for now.